It's time to raise the roof for our first World Baseball Classic podcast, question mark? Because I don't know if we did any in 23 that were specifically dedicated to it, but if not,
Uh, I mean, we were talking about it a lot. I don't remember if we dedicated a whole ep.
okay.
I
I
think we
feel like
did.
we did
I feel like
Did
we
because
we?
did.
somebody we should not name was on the team at the time, was a very
Oh yeah.
prevalent person. So I
Yeah, one
may
of
want,
those people, yeah.
Oh yeah.
yes.
Well, like I mentioned, or like I said, first off, welcome to the pod. I'm your host, Alex Murphy. With me today, my co-host Gibby. Gibby, how are we doing today?
Pretty good, Alex. The Rays are raising. Kevin Cash called them all lazy, or like he said, everything's bad.
That's my
You know,
manager right there.
everyone's like, oh, it's just everyone else in MLB, it's just spring training, and then Kevin Cash just like 10-year, the longest tenured manager, uh, and he's just there like, this is bull crap.
He's
Defense bad, bats bad, pitching bad. I just like how Kevin Cash is. So I'm glad he's still a little bit of a firecracker. So
yeah, I like that
it's been pretty good, Alex. I've been pretty good.
he's been putting reality into it. And as you guys heard, to start off the pod, our friend, RTR team member, all that good stuff, Amita is here with us for the first time in a while. Amita, how you doing?
Alex, it's been crazy. It really has been crazy. And I don't know if I mentioned this on the last pod I was on, but I do work at the USO. So things have been going crazy at the USO, but season will start soon. So we'll probably see a lot of Rays and Rowdies connections soon since the season's gonna start. So that'll be nice. But other than that, not too bad.
There we go.
Like Gibby said, I've seen the Kevin Cash comments, and I think that's hilarious because you never think anyone would care much about spring training, but honestly, better to improve now than going into the season and starting the mess that we had to watch last year.
Oh yeah.
This is very true. This is very true. Well, I would talk about the Rays on this pod, but like I said, there's bigger things happening in the world of baseball. We will be talking about the Rays
World
playing.
baseball.
Yes, world baseball.
Oh,
Tis.
Yeah. Also,
hey.
like, there's only so much that you can discern out of spring training, and the WBC doesn't happen that often. It's only happened 6 times in 20 years because there was that weird 6 year blip because of COVID. But yeah, the World Baseball Classic is here. It is the second one in the 2020s. It's soon to be the third one back in 29 there'll be another one. It's every 3 years is was the intent, quote unquote. I don't really know how well that's been adhered to, but I think 3 years is the vibe. Regardless,
Two
the
years
World
been the
Baseball
vibe.
Classic has already begun. There are 20 teams in this year's edition. I will rattle off those teams to you in just a second. But yeah, 20 teams, plenty of action to be had. There's a bunch of different stadiums across the world, literally across the world, that will be hosting games from the United States to Japan to Puerto Rico. Plenty of places that will be hosting what feels like it's got to be the biggest one at this point. I mean, in terms of like eyes on it, it should definitely be the biggest one. Which is, I mean, it's fantastic that this much attention is being put towards this. Guys care about this. Guys want to play in this. The whole WBC insurance thing, like people want to find a way to be a part of this, and they get really annoyed when they're not. Going over the teams, so you have Brazil, Canada, Colombia, Cuba, the DR, Mexico, Nicaragua, Panama, Puerto Rico, U.S., Venezuela, Chinese Taipei, Japan, South Korea, Czech Republic or Czechia, Great Britain, Israel, Italy, Netherlands, and Australia. Those are the 20 teams that are involved. There are 5 different pots of teams that will be playing. There will be 3 games apiece. Within that, I don't know how. Well, I guess the teams will play 3 games against everyone. I don't know how the hell the whole. Wait, I might have just done that. No, no, there's 5. No, I'm an idiot. There were pots, I guess, to determine who the teams were and where they were going to be seated. There's 4 different pools. Of those 4 pools, there's 5 teams in each pool. The teams in each pool will play 4 games against each other. I would assume that that means that there will only be 8 teams that will be advancing to whatever I would assume quarterfinals, semifinals, finals, that sort of a bracket style format. Though there might be more, I don't know for sure, but that's what I would assume. Yeah, it sounds like that's the case. So it looks like that's the case because there's literally quarterfinal stadiums that are listed here. So yeah, 20 teams, 8 teams will advance quarterfinals, semifinals, finals. You have that bracket style format. A winner will be crowned in Miami. Once again, it seems like Lone Depot Park is a great spot and has been a great spot for the WBC. It definitely was in 2023. Hopefully, it will be in 2026. But with all that being said, everything in and around the WBC. How are you guys feeling about it? How much have you guys studied up on it? Just overall thoughts and feelings heading into it because I know the games have already begun, but the bulk of games haven't necessarily started yet. So, just how are you guys feeling going into the WBC this year?
Uh, I feel like there's significant powerhouses. Obviously, I think Dominican Republic is like with the hitters on their roster at least, it stands out significantly. Uh, so DR looks hot. USA, we always look good. Uh, we're gonna have some good pitching this year from Mr. Skeens. I think we'll have some inning from Mr. Skeens. We'll have uh, will Screwball be pitching too?
One outing.
One
One.
outing. So, but we will be unfortunately, that is unfortunate with the all the insurance stuff that's going on.
Yeah.
Uh, but other than that, yeah, I mean, I'm super excited. I think Team USA looks really good. Dominican Republic looks good. Japan, the last tournament winners are obviously gonna still be an elite team, and then and of course, I feel like one of the greatest rivalries in WBC is Korea versus Japan. So I'd like to see how that goes this year. Uh, that there's always a lot of pride on that game, so that's always a standout. And then just whoever the Dominican Republic is playing, I'm gonna be watching that game too. So I mean, there's obviously other teams that I'll be watching. I mean, I literally watched the Taiwan versus uh who they
Australia
play
game.
for the Australia game last night. Hey, they almost, Taiwan went to the warning track and almost tied the game in the ninth. So that was kind of funny. Uh, so I mean, there's already been a little bit of fireworks. So I'm just so excited. I can't wait to see. I don't think Randy is involved anymore, but I
No,
just
he's
need some.
there.
He's on Team
Yeah.
Mexico.
Yeah, he's on
Yeah, he's
Mexico.
That's
playing.
cool.
Hmm.
Cool. I haven't been looking, so I'm glad he's on Team Mexico. So Team Mexico is going to be pretty fired too. I mean, if Jonathan Aranda's on there too,
He
is
is,
he?
yeah, yeah. He was
Okay,
in,
so
yeah, he was in exhibition games. Alejandro Kirk is on that
all right.
team too.
Oh yeah, I should see that. Oh my God. Who was it? Was it Roddy Tellez? And it's the Roddy Tellez and Alejandro Kirk combo. Because they're like behind each. There was like one play where it's just like both of them were running to home, and it was just hilarious. So that's a great Team Mexico too. But yeah, that's my rundown. I'll be watching, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm always interested in watching the World Baseball Classic anytime it comes on because it's always like fun to see all our stars be out there and even players that we've never even heard or seen. Like I think it's like the Czech, right? Like they have players who are literally like firefighters or construction workers. I don't know, like their whole deal, but I think that's so funny to me. And so I'm interested to see how they play. And then obviously we have our star, our boy, Junior on the Dominican Republic, and he did hit a home run in that exhibition game. So
Oh
that
yeah, he looks insane too.
yeah, I
I forgot
haven't,
to say that.
and this is this, no, because is this his first World Baseball
This will
Classic?
be his first
Yeah,
WBC. Yes.
Right? Yeah. So
yeah.
and honestly, like, and you both know this too, and everyone who's listening knows that, like, Junior is very, very prideful of playing for the Dominican Republic. And
Mhm.
like, if there's one player who's excited in playing in the World Baseball Classic, it's definitely him. And so I'm obviously, being biased, but at the same time, I'm excited to see his energy and how this plays out for him. Brazil is interesting because I don't know if like I might just be forgetting, but I don't know if they've played in the WBC last time, so I'm interested to see how Brazil plays. Because it's just there's just so
They
much fun.
played in 2013, but again,
2013.
yeah. So they haven't been in the World Baseball Classic in what's that, 13 years?
Yeah, that's crazy. So that'll be interesting to see how they play as well. I mean, there's a lot of countries here that have been very competitive, so it'll be an interesting time to watch. But also, it was funny because the other day we had the USA and Giants game on, and USA was like dealt to ass on the Giants, and I'm like, like you would have thought this was like them taking the world like a real finals game or something. And I mean, I know that Team USA is very like stacked, but god damn, that was that was just a crazy game. Like every single inning was just them getting on base each time. But yeah, it's an exciting time for sure. I always enjoy watching the World Baseball Classic and I'm super excited to see these games and how they play out. And now I turn the tables to you both and I would like to ask, who do you guys want to see in the finals and win?
I mean, that's a good question. That's a good question. I will say on my end, I mean, Gibby already talked about it, but some of the teams here are really stacked. It's unfortunate because teams like Puerto Rico, they don't have the guys that have been on WBCs before, because of insurance reasons, like Carlos Correa and Javi Baez and Jose Altuve. Those guys aren't on the team, which really sucks because like obviously those guys care. Those guys want to be on the team. Those guys want to be involved. But if they can't, if with this whole insurance thing, so like the quality of the team goes down, and it's not as palatable for the fans. But in other places, guys are completely fine. And like, we already mentioned the DR, Vladdy Jr., Tatis Jr., Juan Soto, Caminero. Like that team is offensively, that team is stacked. From a pitching standpoint, we'll have to see. But offensively, that team is stacked. Venezuela, the number three team in terms of world rankings coming into this, Venezuela, really, really solid team. I believe that Yoendris Gomez, recent Rays acquisition, is on that roster. One of, I believe, six different Rays players because Edwin Uceda would have been on the DR with Junior, but then that cranky shoulder thing popped up, so he's not in the World Baseball Classic. But in terms of both players and prospects, there's six of them, and Gomez is one of them. And again, I mean, they have a really, really solid roster of guys. I mean, you have Acuna in the outfield, Gleyber Torres, Eugenio Suarez. Oh no, Altuve's from Venezuela. I'm a dumbass. So yeah, Altuve's fine, but like Puerto Rico again, still their team isn't as quality as like Venezuela, for example. Arise, Altuve, Eduardo Escobar, Andres Jimenez. Um, Trying to think, Salvi Perez behind the plate. Uh,
They got Michael Garcia as well.
yeah, David
Venezuela's,
Peralta,
I mean, they're a dark horse. I mean, they're a dark horse for this.
Santander. Like the guys are. Um, like there's a lot of I mean, even Ranger Suarez is on there. I think that's not how he wants his name to be pronounced, but we already mentioned Mexico with guys like Randy and Jaron Duran. Luis Arias, Aranda, Joey Meneses. Trying to think, Andres Munoz, Tellez. We already mentioned Taiwan Walker. Trying to going over to. I'm just trying to name as many names as I can with these teams. Japan is the number one team in the world. They have Otani. So I mean, by default, they're already really good. Munetaka Murakami, Yoshida, Seiya Suzuki, Shugo Maki. Trying to think of who else. Yuki
I think
Matsui.
in terms of pitching, I think Japan's the most set for in the pitching aspect,
Yeah,
just
I mean
because.
Hmm.
Kikuchi,
I mean, and that's just
Yamamoto.
how it always is,
Yeah, I
kind of.
mean Tomoyuki Sugano, like they have some absolute studs. But like on that list too, you're not seeing Roki Sasaki, and you're
Hmm.
also not seeing Shota Minaga, which
Hmm.
sucks because those are two guys that are two of the best pitchers in the world, and to not see them on that team is brutal. I mean,
Yeah.
even Team USA, like Joe Ryan got hurt before that, and then was replaced by the GOAT Ryan Yarborough. So like now he's going to be getting meaningful innings in the WBC, which is continues to continues the U.S. doesn't have pitchers
Yeah.
thing, which is pretty accurate because like even at their best, they haven't had the best pitchers. But like this year, having Skeens and having Skubal is great, but when they only have three combined starts between them in the World Baseball Classic, like there's only so much that you can get out of them. So like then you have to start relying like Nolan McLean is going to be the guy who would start the final for the U.S. if he was to do it. Upstart rookie with the Mets has a really really solid stuff. But like those things kind of suck, but some other places prioritize things more than others. But going off of what Amita said, because she did ask us who would be in the final or who we think would be in the final. Oh man, that's a very tough question because I think that the U.S. is really good, but at the same point, I know that there's flaws in that team. Offensively, the U.S. is a lot better than what they've been in recent years, but at the same time, I think that there's still flaws in the team. So I would say I have a lot of faith in Japan to be really good, and I also have a lot of faith in Venezuela to be good, but I don't think that Venezuela's pitching is that amazing. So like I think it could be U.S., Japan. Oh, and the DR. Why am I keep forgetting about the DR? Um, I mean, I could easily see a Japan DR final. If everything shakes out and they don't play each other in the semis, I could easily see that as a final. I think that would be a great final. Venezuela DR in the semis would be great. Uh, but yeah, I think that I don't know if the onslaught of power that the U.S. has brought together guys like Bryce Harper and Cal Raleigh and Aaron Judge and Kyle Schwarber. I don't know if those guys together are going to give them, with the pitching, I don't know if they're going to have the quality necessary in order to win, but I think that, there's probably four teams that could win, in my opinion. I think I would choose between the US, Japan, Venezuela, and the DR.
True. I mean, yeah, those are obviously the top dogs. I mean, I don't know. I don't know if Japan makes it all the way. I think at some point, I think they falter, maybe in the semis. I just don't think they make it all the way to the finals. Um, Even though that just eyeballing the roster, it's the most complete out of probably anybody. Um, just in terms of they still have good pitching. They still have pitchers that are like MLB talent, but they're in
Yeah.
Japan right now. So, um, but it's still, you know, I still feel like there's gonna be they got the biggest target on their back, and people are just. And I think if a team like DR got Japan, I mean that first of all it'd be fireworks, and second of all, um, I think DR comes out on top. So I obviously I think DR will win. I don't foresee the U.S. making it either, just from with the pitching. But I mean, we'll see. Uh, Aaron Judge's speech to everybody didn't really expel me with confidence, but also he was just playing in a practice game. It's not like the first actual game of the WBC. So I'd like to see him get another shot at a speech. Um, maybe just don't put it on camera though.
Yeah. I mean, you're not
But
wrong with that.
but but yeah, I think the US can do pretty good, make it to the semis. I don't know if they make it to the finals. So I mean, a team like Venezuela looks very good right now. The only four I think Mexico can make it to the semifinals like they did last season, or last WBC. So it's very interesting. I mean, the ones I would pick, I'd probably say if we're picking four that are like the semifinal guys, I'd say Mexico, Japan, USA. And I don't even know how the tournament's going to shake out, so I don't know if this is even possible. So,
Yeah,
and
and
like Venezuela.
no DR.
No, DR, sorry, not. I forgot I didn't say DR, but
No,
yeah,
you're fine.
DR.
I'm trying to figure out the whole bracket thing, and Amita, I want to get your thoughts too on the on who you think is going to advance and go far. Because there's like right now the quarterfinals as it looks. Again, this is all bracket style. Is the runner up in Pool C plays the winner of Pool D. So Pool C is the Japan South Korea pool, and Pool D is the Venezuela DR pool. Pool A is the Puerto Rico, Cuba, Canada pool, and Pool B is the U.S. Mexico pool. So runner up Pool A plays the winner of Pool B. Runner up Pool B plays the winner Pool A, and
I
then runner up
yeah,
Pool D plays the winner Pool C. So I think that all the scenarios that we were talking about in terms of who we think would win, like what kind of matchups we want to see at the end, it's all going to be determined on how well they play and where they stack up in pool play.
indeed.
But Amita, who do you think, like, who would you, I don't want to say put your money on, but um, who are your favorites? Who do you think is going to go far? Who would you have in the final, and who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, so it's actually really funny. I have very, very, if not the same thoughts as Gibby. Um, I'm, I think, I think DR wins this. I think they might have, I mean, like we talked about, their pitching might not be the best, but I think that they might translate that into offense. Who knows? But I would like to see them win again this year. I think it'd be fun. Japan and Mexico are good ones too. I think like from la what we watched last time, it was just that was just an amazing, amazing final to watch. And I think that USA, I don't know if they go that far. I'm not really keen or confident on their roster right now. Like let's see how their offense plays out. I mean, they were just playing a Giants team in spring training for that first game, so depends on how if that translates to real competition. But I'm I'm putting it all in the DR, I think. Venezuela is a little bit sneaky though. I think it it really depends on how the pitching plays out for Venezuela, but I think they could be sneaky. They might be a sneaky one this year.
Yeah, and
And
look, oh,
no, you're good. And it's really funny because I forgot to bring this up. This is not anything to do with finalists, but we just have to talk about Team Cuba because what is going on there? Like, there's a lot of them that haven't played in the league for years or so, and they're back. Like Alexi Ramirez, good old Alexi Ramirez, name we haven't heard in a
yeah,
while,
I haven't
right?
heard that name in a while. Holy crap.
Wow, I'm sure we all have not heard that name in a while.
That's a
He's
a
playing
rough
this year.
look.
And it's I think you guys know this too, but it's crazy to see that I'm not trying to say like crazy downfall, but Cuba used to be a dominant powerhouse back in the day, and now like they really don't have anybody to play for them, so they have to do the same situation as a lot of other teams where they're just bringing out older players, and so I don't know how that's gonna go, but yeah, putting my final answer, I think DR wins, but we'll be excited to see how everything plays out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
Cuba's always interesting because, it's not MLB. I mean, sometimes it is MLB talent. A lot of times, though, MLB players just avoid playing for the
Hmm.
national team after a minute. But I mean, it's kind of just always surprising to see that they can always put out. It's kind of like the other side of the coin of what you're talking about. It's like it's kind of surprising that they can just put out a bunch of guys from their leagues basically, and they're pretty much just as good, as as like the average BC player. So I mean, Aroldis Chapman's from there, so you're gonna have like 80,000. You have like so many. The wealth of talent in Cuba is just crazy. So I mean, they're still going to be good and competitive, but they're not going to be the upper echelon teams. But you're right, how the mighty have fallen. I mean, they used to kind of, I mean, baseball. They used to just run baseball kind of with the amount of players that come from there. But yeah,
Also, even though I fucked it up before, I was 100% right about Altuve not playing because of the whole insurance thing.
yeah,
Because I
I
think
was
when I
gonna say
was
I haven't
looking
heard
at
his
the
name.
yeah, well, I think when I was looking at the rosters, I saw the 23 rosters, but now I have the 26 rosters up, and he's not on there. So it's definitely he was held out because of that. I just got the country wrong, which again, that's really bad on my end that I messed that up. But like, I mean, they're like going back to Venezuela, their team. They got both the Contreras brothers. You already mentioned Michael Garcia. They have Jackson Churio. I already mentioned Arise. I mean, that's pretty, I already mentioned Ranger Suarez earlier. But like on the DR side, talking about pitching, because I think that that's important. They honestly have one of the better staffs, maybe not the best one, but they have one of the better ones in the WBC. I mean, you have Wandy Peralta, Christopher Sanchez, who, God, I wish he was still in the Rays, Gregory Soto, Sandy Alcantara, Brian Bayo, Camilo Doval, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Carlos Estevez. Severino. I mean, like that's a really solid. Like that's like eight guys that I just mentioned that are all really solid pitchers, whether it be starters or relievers. So like they have the quality necessary in order to go all the way. They have every guy is a major league player outside of Junior Lake, former major leaguer, played for the Cubs at one point. And then Albert Abreu, I think yeah, he pitched on the Yankees for a hot second for a couple years. But like every other guy's a major league dude. Junior's the youngest guy on the roster by at least a couple years, at least 2 years. He's one of the youngest guys in the tournament. I mean, Jackson Churio is 21, so he's younger than him. But on the whole, he's one of the youngest guys in the tournament. There's a guy from Taiwan who's 20. There's a couple guys in what's it called in the Czechia, Czech Republic who are 20. But like for the most part, I mean, like, he's one of the youngest dudes who's in the WBC, which is even
sure.
that much more impressive that he is like one of the guys that people are already putting futures bets on to win WBC MVP. Like that's the kind of pull that he's already. I mean, he went 6 for 6 in the two exhibition games, and every ball he hit was over 100 miles an hour. I think three of the baseballs he hit were over 110. The homer he hit was like 108, which was like the softest ball he hit the one night where he went 4 for 4. He won like 119 off the bat.
I
Like
think he's just a different beast when he's playing for Dominican Republic.
he's not real.
And I mean we've seen that.
Yeah,
I mean we've seen
exactly.
his insane celebration when he was playing with them like a year ago or something
Yeah.
in the Dominican Winter League. So yeah, I mean it just means more, I guess, in the DR SEC or something. Uh
It's crazy too because for someone like him, he's definitely like had some great influence growing up and playing baseball and up till now because there's just always been talent around the Dominican Republic within like not just Major League Baseball, but over there as well with their baseball team. So I think that like with him being inspired by all those people and the people around him, just being so young, he's just ready for all this stuff. Like I said, I've never seen, like I said earlier, I've never seen anyone so prideful in playing for their team. Besides Randy, of course, Randy is very prideful for playing for Mexico and he loves it. And Junior definitely has that same energy. And I can tell he was excited to play this year in the World Baseball Classic. So I know
you know
he'll carry and bring it for his team.
you know who I want to see back? The number one guy I want to see back is that Czech guy who was an electrician who struck out Shohei Ohtani in the last WBC.
Oh, the dude from the Czech Republic?
Yes.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
one I forgot his
So,
name.
sorry, I was going back and looking through the rosters, and I just found out that Jahmai Jones, if you guys know who Jahmai Jones is, he is on the South Korean team, which is very random, but
Oh,
apparently his mom is of Korean descent. Um,
Oh, that's like Austin Wells being on the Dominican
Ah,
Republic team.
yes, yes, yes. Dominican legend Austin Wells, and a couple Rays
Hey
legends. We
guys.
got we got we got Yu Chang back on Chinese Taipei, the Taiwanese squad. We also have the GOAT Rays legend Stuart Fairchild, who appeared in approximately 0 games with the Rays, but
Got
was
cut and
acquired by
Sneed.
them. Yeah, Curtis Mead, playing for Team Australia because he's one of the very
Oh
few
yeah.
guys that's in the big leagues. Um, Also, I mean, we already like if you guys saw Australia's first game, Travis Bazzana, absolute stud. He'll be in the big league soon. Um, Such a fun guy to watch. Trying to think of like other random Rays. I mean, and then I do want to mention the actual Rays players that are in it because we already mentioned Jonathan Aranda playing for Team Mexico, Junior Caminero playing for the Dominican Republic, Yoendris Gomez playing for Team Venezuela, Gary Gill Hill, Rays prospect, who's playing for Team GB. Team GB should be fun to watch for those who are baseball sickos out there. And then our two pitchers for the United States, that being Griffin Jacks and Garrett Clevenger. So those are your Rays players, prospects, all of that who are participating in the WBC this season. It's very cool. I think this is the most players that the Rays have had participate in the WBC at once. I could be wrong about that, but it has to be up there because six is a lot. Would have been seven, like I mentioned, but or like I said, but everything that happened with Useda, unfortunately, he will not be participating. But hopefully, he'll be ready by opening day, which might be a more important thing, but who knows? But I'm sure he was definitely gutted to not play for the DR. Uh, I'm just curious, like overall excitement about this, because again, this is not something that happens all the time. We've grown to love this event, even though some countries have loved it, some countries haven't loved it.
The excitement is at a high level because this is when baseball gets to show its what it's really good at is that it's a very international sport and it's in a ton of countries. It's probably, you know, second to or third to like maybe basketball uh and soccer, but still gets to show that it is to an international sport and all the different cultures that have their own baseball culture. And it's kind of just amazing to see. So, I mean, that's where the excitement really comes from for me. I mean, I'll watch World anything, you know. I mean, I watched. I became the biggest figure skater fan for the last 3 weeks, and I will not touch it for another 4 years. Um, so, you know, sports just has that way of doing it when you know nations are involved. Uh, you know, when nations become involved in anything, I become pretty patriotic. Uh, it's hard. It's been hard to feel patriotic about this uh USA baseball team. Uh, just because of that Aaron Judge speech that really, it really put a damper in my team USA
He
Team
shouldn't be
USA.
allowed to give speeches moving
Yeah,
forward. In like
but
in just like a grand thing. I understand he's a captain of the Yankees, but like bro has to embody what it means to be a
yeah,
captain. Like Derek Jeter runs circles around him right now.
yeah. But the strength coach, you know, he's doing numbers for Team USA right now. But yeah, I mean, it's just this is when baseball gets to show, you know, just all these where all these people come from, and you know, it just right now it just means more than you know what we would get out of a normal spring training game. And I think it's really good when Rays players are involved with this. I think, you know, when this happened last time, I think the Rays got off to a really hot start, you know, when they had Randy in WBC and he was hot and then he was hot coming into the season.
Yeah, I mean they had that
Uh
13-0 start that season.
exactly. So I mean, it, this can it can benefit the Rays massively, getting these guys meaningful playing time right now. So, I mean, it's just best case scenario for the Rays. Personally, I even if somebody got knock on wood, even if somebody got injured, I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be like a I'm not gonna be like a Mets fan when Edwin Diaz uh went out in the WBC last time. I'm not gonna be that guy, you know. I think if you're gonna get injured, it should be playing for your country, not playing for, you know, MLB team that's from a city you don't really know. Uh, so, I'm not gonna fault a guy if somebody happens to get injured in the WBC. I'm still gonna love the WBC. I'm not gonna turn on it like how Mets fans did that time.
I mean, yeah, that was pretty radical in all
That
reality.
was pretty radical. They were
Yeah.
like, cancel this shit.
No,
I
definitely.
remember. But yeah, I mean, I love WBC, and it's going to be an electric tournament. So the excitement levels are palpable for me and many other people too.
Yeah, I every time I hear about the World Baseball Classic coming back, I immediately get so excited because I enjoy watching it a lot. I always love watching people play for their country, the excitement of people in their country, and also like here, even in the US, for people who are from those countries, or for us, like from the US, watching the players, watching like people who've never watched baseball before and their reactions and how they react. And the one thing that South Korea is doing and is doing a good job at because they are bringing K-pop stars to do the first pitch for their games. So, for all those K-pop fans, they get excited because if they know those artists, they're going to be like, "Oh my gosh, like I can't wait to see this game." Do they care about baseball? Have they seen a baseball game? Probably not.
No,
Like, but they know what they're doing to bring people to watch this game. And
yep,
I'm
that's numbers
very
right there.
positive. Yeah, and I'm very positive that if they continue to keep doing it for the next World Baseball Classic and whatnot, it's going to bring people to the sport. And eventually, because I think obviously, those people who do throw out the first pitch, and most of the time they do love watching baseball. Like I know one of the guys who is throwing the first pitch. He is like an ambassador for South Korea, and he's from Chicago. Loves baseball. So him doing all that brings people into the sport. So I think it's really interesting to see how each country is bringing people who have never seen this sport before to play this game. And I'm sure that like I'm really interested to see at the end of the WBC like how much the viewership has changed from the last WBC because there's obviously more people all around. And I will never be disappointed as long as everything comes out well for everybody. Nothing too like crazy goes on. And hopefully our race players stay healthy as well. But like you said, Gibby, if someone gets injured, let it be the World Baseball Classic, not like a regular season game when it matters a lot to the team season. But yeah, overall, super excited. Can't wait for the rest of it to play out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I am 100% with you guys on that. Very excited to watch all these Rays guys. And there was another guy that I forgot to mention, Owen Wild. He's a pitcher prospect in the system. So that's seven different Rays players and prospects who are involved, which is awesome. It's cool to see. And then plenty of former Rays players who are involved, whether that be former prospects, guys that got traded, guys that were signed elsewhere. Like for me, I remember back in like 2017 when I watched it when Team USA won their only WBC title, and that run, if you for those that remember, and I know Jolly Olive just did a really good video about it, like a retrospective 2017. Um, but that team wasn't like dominant, like the Puerto Rico coming into that game with all of their stars without all the whole insurance issues. That team was incredibly dominant coming in, and then the US like wiped the floor with them in the final. But I remember watching games with my friend and being really into it, and like I could tell that he wasn't fully into it, but he was like watching it because I was enjoying it, and I hope that he got at least a similar enjoyment out of it to what I did. But I genuinely love watching the WBC. I remember watching it while covering games at my last job, watching the final between the US and Japan, and then watching it out in my car. And like when the US lost, like I genuinely felt like a sense of like disappointment. And I was like, I can't believe that they just lost. I understand that Japan's really good, but like I wanted them to win and they came up short. And I didn't really know if a tournament like that would produce those kind of vibes. or a tournament like this would produce those kind of vibes. And now we're at that point where people do genuinely care. And I know that there's still a lot of people that don't, which really sucks because the WBC is never going to be the World Cup. It's never going to be the the FIBA World Cup. It's never going to be like the World Juniors um, or like the Four Nations face off for hockey. It's not going to have that kind of a vibe to it. But like if we continue to build it up and people continue to show their interest and players continue to be interested and wanting to play for their country, some maybe more patriotically than others, but like Bryce Harper talking about how important it was for him to play for his country, even though he could have easily done that the last couple times and he just chose not to. But it's then as soon as other guys stepped in, he's like, "Oh, I gotta go in." But like he's played for Team USA before in the junior level. Other guys have played for Team USA before in different ways. If you remember back to 2006, I mean that roster was stacked with the amount of guys that were on it, from like Ken Griffey Jr. to Derek Jeter to Roger Clemens, other guys. 2009, same thing. Like Evan Longoria played on the World Baseball Classic roster. Like there's not that many Rays players who have played for Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. Jason Adam, another one. But like this just I think it deserves to mean a lot to people. People deserve to love it. People deserve to be shown, and the world deserves to be shown how popular baseball has become and how popular it continues to be and how much it's grown across the world. Those sort of things are incredibly important for us, and for this game to continue to flourish because the more that other markets continue to be tapped, the more that other players from different countries find ways to get into the league, then that's one more kid saying when Travis Bazzana makes his major league debut, some kid in Australia is going to watch his first game and be like, "Oh my God, he's playing Major League Baseball. That means I can play Major League Baseball." The first kid from the Czech Republic that ends up playing Major League Baseball, some kid in the Czech Republic is going to watch them in Czechia and be like, "Oh my God, he's playing Major League Baseball. That means I can do it." Um, like those are the kinds of things that a tournament like this can help produce that others can't. And I think, as Gaby was mentioning, the sort of patriotism that you have, from watching the Olympics, especially, and how much pride people take in their country and how much athletes celebrate when they win, and even when they make, a roster to be able to represent their country. There's a certain amount of pride that comes with that. And I think for fans too, that exists. And I'm hoping that as these World Baseball Classics continue, that they continue to gain support, they continue to gain interest, and people love them because I love watching them, and I know that everyone else loves watching them too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think also it just makes like the best viewership product
It
because I mean
Hmm.
does,
It really does.
the one-off nature of the games, I like a series. Don't get me wrong, but I mean just the one-off nature of the games is really, especially towards in the semifinals, finals, it just makes every inning just so much more suspenseful. I mean, it's like this is
100%.
it. It's just one game and then we're done. I mean, obviously, when you get to the finals, do you play three games in the finals,
No,
or do you
it's
just play
only
one?
one. It's
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 only
it's
one.
One.
Okay,
single,
yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
four full play games and single elimination the rest
So
four.
exactly. So it's just like, I mean, you can compare it to almost like how the NFL playoffs goes, and like kind of that suspense and how that viewership is really high. I mean, WC viewership, BC viewership is going to be like really dependent on like, Japan because I mean, they watch the crap out of Team Japan. I mean, and every game's going to be highly rated from that. So if they make the finals again, I mean, it's going to break, the last viewership record by a mile. So I mean, we'll see on that. So yeah, I mean, it's by far the most entertaining, one of the most entertaining spurts of baseball, you know. And right before the season, like because the beginning of regular season is kind of boring, and spring training kind of boring. So I'm kind of glad that we can watch some meaningful baseball. Obviously the beginning of regular season does matter, but it's just the beginning. Nothing's really, there's no storylines yet. Everyone's finding their way. So, I mean, having this, before baseball really kicks off next month, is going to be awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
one last thing to add to that is it's interesting because if not the World Baseball Classic, then I know MLB always tries to find a way to do those international games as the start of the season. So how the Dodgers and Cubs played in Japan last year, like, yeah, obviously Japan, lots of viewership, lots of people love J baseball in Japan, so they try to hype the season up somehow by starting them there. And then I think the previous season was South Korea. But now you have the double, like the World Baseball Classic. It's back. More people, more people to watch, more outsiders who don't even know what baseball is to see it, see what it's about. And I think the timing is nice too because of how the Winter Olympics just happened now, and
Mhm.
now that we're
And
transitioning to
honestly,
World Baseball.
I mean, yeah, that's a unique thing. Like if you think about looking at the history of the WBC, there's only been one time where the two have interjected, and it was the first one. Because funny enough, another Winter Olympics in Italy, that was the Torino Olympics, the Turin Olympics. It's the home of Juventus, for those that don't know. Uh, that's the only other time that it's happened. That was the first one. So it's literally there's only been two different instances where the Winter Olympics has also coincided with the WBC. So I think that's something to note too, and something that's very interesting there because there is, and I mentioned this too, and I talked about like the transition from the end of the NFL season to spring training or to spring training, quote unquote, Winter Olympics as well. Now to the WBC, and then you go into the start of the start of the 2026 MLB season. Like that's a really nice transition sports wise to get people to be interested, and also it continues the patriotism that people have for their country now that they can watch their countries. Some of them that didn't compete in the Winter Olympics now compete for something else. So I
To
think
be
it's sick.
honest, to be honest, I just want to see Randy rob another home run and just aura farm like a boss again because I'm just thinking about that right now for some reason. I'm just like, that was probably a top three baseball moment in my life. I mean, just like when he caught that ball and just fucking stared. Oh my God, he's just the. Oh, I miss
I
him
miss
so
him.
much. I miss
I
him
miss
so
him
bad. I think
so
about it
much.
every time.
I
I
was
have so
literally
many of
wearing
his.
his
I have
jersey
so
today.
many. Yeah, I have so many Randy shirts and like everything. I'm constantly reminded of Randy all the time.
I'm just saying, I think this is it here too, because the other day it was I don't know if it was his birthday or something, but his wife had posted something about it. And let me tell you, she could post any picture, but she posted a picture of a venue that was in Tampa. So clearly they missed Tampa. So Eric Neander, if you can find a way to bring him back, I'm just saying, get him on it. But yeah,
If
like,
only he wasn't making as much money as he is.
Yeah.
man, sometime, maybe someday, maybe
Hey,
someday.
hey, you got to open up the books at some point if you want to sign people.
Yeah. Well, I will obviously can talk about this any other time, but new ownership is there. So, and it's one other thing to add to is about the Rays is we all know that in the past that there hasn't been that many players that have participated in the WBC, but now that I feel like as the years will go on, there will be more players and hopefully, fingers crossed, to participate in it, and it'll be really interesting and fun to watch for
Yeah,
us
I wonder
as
yeah,
what
Rays
teams
fans.
have the most players on a roster right now.
that's a good question. I could go look that up, but like, I mean, it is an important thing to mention because like, for us as Rays fans, if there weren't as many guys in there, we wouldn't necessarily be as like some people are still invested, but some people wouldn't nearly be as invested as say, others. But now that there's so many different Rays players and prospects that are involved, now you're at the point where you're like, oh, look at all these Rays guys that are here. I guess I should watch this. Here, let me go check MLB
I mean,
team.
yeah, Griffin Jax is going to be probably a very meaningful pitcher in the WBC. I mean, he's going to be taking over after all these starters, who are going to have their one or two starts in these games, and then and then Griffin Jax is going to come in like the sixth or the seventh or the eighth inning and pitch some wild fastballs. Probably walk three people and then strike out the next three because he's just that guy.
Dog.
Um, dog.
So,
But yeah,
on that note of what you were talking about, this is from Sarah Langs. Who, if you guys don't know who Sarah Langs is, you're living under a rock. These rosters feature an all-time high 78 MLB All-Stars, 36 players who were 2025 All-Stars, and 306 MLB affiliated players. 190 of those are MLB 40-man rosters. The Phillies and Red Sox have the most 40-man players participating with 11 each. The Mets and Mariners have the most players from their overall organization participating with 17 and 16 respectively. So if you're fans of either of those teams, you are going to love life because there's
Oh
going to
my
be a lot of guys
God.
that you will not be seeing in spring training, and you will
Dodgers
definitely be seeing in the WBC.
17.
17 and 16. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's crazy.
I mean, to be fair, like I don't know how many teams are going to want Taylor Walls for their team, or like Kevin
I
Kelly,
wouldn't
Well,
want
you
him
or
on
only
my
well, you
team.
only have one country, Alex.
yeah,
So,
well, a
and
lot of them are
also,
U.S. guys. So
I know exactly.
like
So
Ben
you're not gonna take
Williamson,
Taylor
Carson
Walls.
Williams, Trey Morgan, Xavier Isaac, Chandler Simpson, Jake Fraley, Cedric Mullins. Cedric Mullins was in the 2023 WBC, by the way, so that is worth
I
noting. But
would
like,
like to think that if Xavier Isaac was not in the situation that he was in, I think he would have. I personally think he would have played this year. I would. I don't see why not. But
I mean, he would have. I don't know. There wasn't really a lot of space for people that weren't, there wasn't a lot of space for non MLB players on Team USA. But like, I mean,
that's
even I'm trying
fair.
to think of like other guys on the roster. Like maybe Rasmussen, maybe he just didn't want to do it.
He probably want to stay healthy.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Pepio is shown to be really good, but when you're competing along the likes of Paul Skeens and
listen,
um
I don't blame the
and
pitchers for not going.
Tarek Skubal, then
I don't
like,
blame the pitchers for not going. But
well, no, it's more of just like I'm trying to think of other guys that would have necessarily made the roster. Like a lot of
oh
the guys on the Rays are guys from the US, and with the as stacked
yeah,
as the US roster is, there's
yeah.
not really a lot of spots for them unless you have nationalities in another country. So it's kind of difficult to say whether, one is the case or the other. But like,
But it is interesting though, because I think, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, I feel like this is maybe the most prospects I've seen that the Rays have sent, or have they've had a few of their prospects playing for the WBC this year. I don't know how many have played in the past as much, but I feel like there's more presence with Rays prospects this time around, right?
it feels
Like
similar.
I just feel but I do think it's nice because now that a lot of us who did grow up watching baseball or like have recently become baseball fans, like if you're a fan of the regular 40-man roster team, but you don't know who the prospects really are, like this is the time to see who they really are. And then if they end up, like
I mean, that's true. It's very
if you
true.
go to a minor league game, you see these guys, you're like, oh, I remember seeing them on TV. I don't know, but it's nice to see that this might be a time for them to shine. If you don't know who they are, now you know.
Yeah, and then also, I mean, this is if you go back to the what's it called? If you go back to the 2020 Olympics, 2021 Olympic, however the hell you want to call it, there are and there were a number of guys on that roster that were either former Rays players or prospects. You have Shane Baz and Joe Ryan, who were both on the Rays at that point. They were both part of the Team USA roster. And then also, I mean, like some absolute legends in Edwin Jackson and Scott Kazmir. Somehow Edwin Jackson was pitching at like 38, 37. Um, I'm trying to think of who else. I don't think Junior was on this list. But because it was a lot of like the Japan basically had a bunch of guys that were like pro guys that were playing in the US, and a bunch of other teams were like piecing together lists of players that weren't major league related guys. But like you go back to that. I know that a lot of people were hyped because Boz and Ryan were part of that. And then you go into the 2023 WBC and you have Randy and you have Isak Paredes and you have Aranda and Jason Adam that were all part of it that I can remember off the top of my head. And now you go into this. So it's like over these last 5 years, in terms of major international baseball tournaments that have happened, there have been a bunch of different Rays players and prospects, guys that we remember, guys that are currently on the team that have participated in these. So I think that that's really cool that we've had like a vesting interest in players in these tournaments, which I just think that's sick for us as Rays fans specifically.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and I
mean,
mean, like I said,
you
you know, for people who are just tapping into baseball, especially the Rays, and with all the excitement and things that they've been doing recently, and having to see that there's that many Rays players this time around, it's nice for them to see how the World Baseball Classic plays out and what they're going to do this season. So it helps them be excited
It'll
for
be a
these
fun experience.
players.
It'll be a fun experience for sure. Gibby, you got anything else?
not much. No, I mean, I'm glad that the Rays are going to be getting like these meaningful at bats. Like I said last time, this led us to a really hot start at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, I'm just excited to see everything, not just Rays players, just everything the World Baseball Classic has to offer.
It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
And I will
I-
say one quick last thought, Alex. If you haven't tapped into the World Baseball Classic, highly, highly recommend
Now is the
to
time to
watch it.
do it.
Now is the time to
Now is
watch.
the time to do it. So I believe all of the games are on the Fox series of networks. You're going to have plenty of baseball going on. The group stages are going to be happening basically over the next week or so. Like I mentioned, plenty of games happening. All teams are going to play 5 pool games. The top 2 teams in each of the 4 pools will be advancing to a bracket style format, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals. Quarterfinals will be played in Miami and Houston, semifinals in Miami, and the final in Miami. So expect Lone Depot Park, which is dead 95% of the year, to be hype for the WBC because it's provided to be a great or shown to be a great environment for everything except for Marlins games, including the Winter Classic.
That is true.
Also more hype than a Marlins game.
That is true.
But yeah, no, I mean for everyone going, like if you get down to Miami, I'm sure you're gonna have a great time. If you go out to Houston, I'm sure you're gonna have a great time. If you go overseas, lucky, very, 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 very lucky. But yeah, with all that being said, though, I think that's going to conclude this latest episode of Raise the Roof. We appreciate you guys as always for your support. If you guys want to follow us and everything that we got going on here, it's Raise the Roof TV on social media, Twitter/X, Instagram, Blue Sky. Be sure to follow us there. As for these podcasts or our YouTube channel, Raise the Roof. Be sure to subscribe to us there. We're going to be posting our podcasts. We're going to be posting random clips from games that we get, interviews from players, all that good jazz. Be sure to subscribe and turn on those post notifications so you guys know when new uploads happen because we're going to be having plenty of those. For the podcast, continue to support us as you guys have been. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave us a review, hopefully a 5-star review, and share this with your family, your friends, anyone you know who's a baseball fan or a Rays fan that wants to add a podcast into their podcast feed. We'd love to be part of it. A shout out to our sponsors, SeatGeek in the Clutch and JKS Print. Be sure to use that code Raise the Roof, RAYS, the roof, in all caps at checkout. Save yourself some money. Get yourself some tickets. Get yourself some merch. Have a good time. Support us in the process. All that good jazz. With all that being said, thanks so much for listening. And as always, raise up.
Raise up, baby.